I want to thank first off everyone for coming today and everyone behind me for coming. The first thing we have to do, of course, is take a moment to offer our sincerest condolences and prayers to the family of Sergeant Christopher Brewster. Funeral services, I understand, are going on right now for this young Houston police officer. And we wish our condolences and offer our condolences to the family. When we talk about first responders and we talk about public safety, it's more than just a slogan. It's life and death, and I think this demonstrates that. And we need a police chief who doesn't capitalize on tragedy like that to talk about national issues that really have nothing to do with what happened to that young man and the suffering that his family is going through. That young man lost his life in the line of duty responding to a domestic violence call on the city's east side when he was fatally shot. I think all of us are very concerned about the growing disrespect for law and order in our community and the growing disrespect to our law enforcement officers. And so today I'm unveiling my commitments to increase public safety and reduce crime and human trafficking in the city of Houston. Now, y'all know I'm not a career politician. I'm somebody that I believe, and I think hopefully you believe, can work with all sides and with all people in our diverse city. Now, my ideas have been attacked relentlessly by Sylvester Turner, but yet he offers no alternatives. He and his cronies say that my ideas are unrealistic and that my vision of Houston cannot be accomplished. Well, Mayor, I respectfully disagree with you. We need change at City Hall. Sylvester Turner is not getting the job done. And let's briefly review where we are today in the police department. The current city administration blames the federal government for our crime problems here in Houston because the federal government will not pass certain legislation. But Houston is ground zero for crime, and we're not doing a whole lot about it. We're number one in human trafficking. It's probably no surprise that the motels who profit from human trafficking and the strip clubs that profit from human trafficking and white slavery are donors to Sylvester Turner's campaign. It's just more of the same, pay to play corruption. Did you realize that assaults are up by over 900 compared to last year in the city of Houston? Property crime is up 8%. And aggravated assaults are up 16.8% in our city. We have now achieved the distinction regarding crime that are disturbing at best. We have now declined in crime fighting so far that 96% of the top 100 cities in America are rated safer than Houston. Now think about that. CBS News reported that Houston has now moved into the top 25 of the most dangerous cities in America, primarily due to a 6.3% spike in violent crime here in Houston. And we have half as many police officers in Houston as our closest city by population, that is Chicago. And they have a higher percent on patrol, about 60%. For Houston, we have about 40 some odd percent of our police officers actually on the streets and on patrol. And in Chicago, they assign their patrol officers to areas where the majority of the crime occurs. They use their crime statistics to know that the type of crimes and when those crimes occur, and they make an effort at least to have police officers in those areas. And this is what we should do here in Houston. But yet, not only do we not do that, you never hear anything about it. And it takes a gang shooting at the end of River Oaks Boulevard at Lamar High School. It takes something as egregious as that for this police chief to even admit what we all know, that there is an ongoing gang war in the city of Houston. On December 14th, the voters will say no to 4 more years of Turner and his hand-picked politician police chief, who places more energy into making political statements than he cares about our city's safety. I mean, I don't need to tell you that this guy, this police chief, grandstands every time something bad happens instead of sitting at his desk and solving crime and preventing crime. Today we're here at the scene of a recent crime. Not only was this restaurant behind me broken into, but the one across the street was as well. And many other businesses in this community have been broken into, and these crimes have not been solved. And it's happened in the middle of the day. These criminals, the criminal class in this city, are brazen. They're brazen. They think nobody can touch them. And when you look at the solve rate for burglaries and robberies, and you see that they're less than 5%, well, you know why they're brazen. And you know why that the gangs have chosen Houston, Texas as their hub. And you know why human and sexual trafficking is the hub in Houston, Texas, because no one's doing anything about it. Well, that's going to change.
Yes.
Yep. That will change.
Yes.
We have to ask ourselves, what kind of city do we want to live in? We can have the best parks, the best green spaces, the best libraries, the best festivals, the best restaurants, but if we don't feel safe walking down the street, if we don't feel safe sitting on our front porch, if we don't feel safe going to the store, then we failed the residents of the city of Houston. I have a 5-point plan. A 5-point plan, which is just the beginning, to move us aggressively toward our goals. On day one, I will terminate Chief Acevedo. And I think he knows that, and that's the reason he's out there campaigning for his boss. And I think he has political aspirations as to be the mayor after his boss is over. But I would suggest to you respectfully that most of the rank and file in the police department have no faith in this man. And most of the city of Houston who have some political axe to grind have no faith in him. We see how crime continues to rise in this city, and we see him grandstanding when he should be solving crime. So on the day one, I will terminate and fire Chief Acevedo and replace him with a new police chief interested in preventing crime by implementing deterrence measures and significantly increasing police patrols instead of political grandstanding. We will put police on the street in the areas with the type of crime we know occurs and where it occurs. We will have a police presence in the city of Houston. We don't have it now. Number two, I will make sure that we dedicate at least 60% of our police force to patrolling the streets. No more will we have more officers behind desks and in offices instead of on the street. We all know that deterrence is the way you prevent crime. The best way to fight crime is to prevent it from happening in the first instance. And then you do that by making sure you have a police presence. It makes no sense to me that out of approximately 5,200 police officers, we only have 2,300, well below half, patrolling the streets. We need to increase the visibility of our police in the city of Houston. Number three, I will grow the Houston Police Department by adding a total of at least 1,500 police patrol officers. The goal will be to at least double the number of patrol officers we currently see on the streets. The residents demand it. The residents deserve it. We have to have a police presence in our city. Number four, I will begin an aggressive program to combat human trafficking with prevention, identity, and protection initiatives. We will offer appropriate services to victims. We will increase police visibility in Houston, especially in those areas that we know where human trafficking exists. And if you have any doubt in your mind that we have a human and sexual trafficking problem in the city of Houston, I challenge you and urge you, go to Bissonnet between Highway 59 and Beltway 8 and drive down that street about 10 o'clock at night, and you'll understand what the problem is in the city of Houston. We will fix it. We should all hold our heads in shame that Houston, Texas is the hub for human and sexual trafficking, and we will aggressively fix that problem. Number five, Houston has roughly 50,000 theft cases backlogged. I will order that all theft crime reports by our citizens that have been ignored under Sylvester Turner will be investigated, and we will prosecute the criminals responsible. Enough is enough. Too many times when somebody breaks into your home, when you call the police, they respond 3 to 4 hours later. And listen, I'm not blaming the police officers. I have many, many friends in the rank and file of our police department. I blame the fact that we don't have enough police officers. If you're a criminal, mark my words, there's a new day coming. There's a new day coming. We will attack the criminal class in the city of Houston. For the area we're at today, believe it or not, the latest statistics for the region from HPD is only from May of 2018. We're 19 months behind. They show an average of 125 crimes a month, and most of these are robberies and burglaries in this area. That is absolutely unacceptable, and we will not tolerate it when I'm your mayor. My website, TonyBuzbeeForMayor.com, from the beginning has laid out a very detailed vision about anticipatory policing, the CompStat program, and putting more police officers on the streets. I encourage you to review it. And of course, if you look at Sylvester Turner's website and his issues, it remains blank. We will do better. To get things done, it takes vision, persistence, and willpower. Reducing crime will be one of my top priorities of my administration, and you can hold me accountable because I intend to be accountable for all citizens. I hope that you will join me. We have an election on Saturday. There's a new vision and new energy in Houston, Texas, and the way to make that happen is to vote. I'll take a few questions.
Tony, you know how you feel about Chief Acevedo. Do you have somebody in mind? What would your ideal police chief look like?
My ideal police chief would be somebody who's more interested in solving crime and preventing crime than in making a political statement about national issues. I believe in, I'm very sensitive to promoting from within. I would like to find a police chief from within the department. I think there's a police chief there. I haven't identified anybody, and I wouldn't prejudice myself in that way right now. But I will say that I think the majority of Houstonians see that we need a new police chief.
Would it be accurate to say that increasing the number of police on the streets and increasing the total number of police is your number one priority in terms of the limited resources in the city?
Yeah, because the good news is we have 5,200 police officers, and only 44% or so are on the street. We can fix that immediately without a increase, or at least much of an increase. Obviously, we need to have cars and such, and the equipment that they need. But I think just a police presence. I mean, if you talk to, like I have, and I'm sure you have too, Greg, people all across this city, they wonder, where are our police? When you think about at any one time across the city of Houston, there's only 350 officers patrolling the streets, trying to patrol 660 square miles. We're not getting it done. So I think just the police presence itself is going to deter crime and send a message to and I believe because we have so many gang members in this town that they are recruiting more younger people who are doing a lot of these petty crimes, and we got to put an end to it. Right. And that's what we're going to do. Thank you all very much.
Sir, do you want to say something about the deceiving message from Casey HOU yesterday about the latest poll?
I don't put any stock into polls. I mean, they polled 200 some odd people, the same people they had polled previously, and that poll was off by almost 10%. The only poll that matters is the poll that's going to occur on December 14th. And that's why I urge everybody to vote.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Hey,
How
are you doing?
I am good.
And you know what? My friend Nissy may have something she wants to say. She has a very unique story, and I would encourage you to, if you have something to say it.
Good.
You guys, I am my candidate. I am Tony Buzbee when I show up anywhere, because he is not for human trafficking in Houston. There is a misrepresentation of the African American community, the Caucasian community, the Latino community of human trafficking, and it has not been appropriately measured. We have got to measure the correct statistics and be familiar with our survivors. We do not know how many survivors are actually out there, and the presence has been misrepresented as far as their job security, as far as housing is concerned, as far as malnourishment is concerned, where they're getting their food and their supplies from. And we want you girls to speak out and to speak up. And Tony has a 5-point plan that will represent all of us, because it does affect us. And we're looking forward to having Tony Buzbee as our next mayor.
Yes.
I'm asking you all, domestic violence of all types, it doesn't matter, to get to the poll, because your vote matters. And we need you, because now we have a mayor who is willing to hold our hands and listen to us and get us all the resources and the help that we need, especially in the schoolhouse. So please, please vote December 14th for my man, Tony Buzbee.
Tony Buzbee!
Oh, yes.
Thank you guys. Thank you, everyone.